Ahead in life? Will another pair of shoes make you a better person? Probably not. But what if you could speak another language? If acquiring a new language excites you more than acquiring more stuff, then wait until you hear this. As part of its biggest language learning event in history, Rosetta Stone is giving away demos of its powerful language learning software absolutely free. For your free demo, call 1-800-441-1454. And Rosetta Stone has made language learning more convenient than ever. Learn on your computer or iPad, then practice on the go with your smartphone or MP3 player without ever opening a book or memorizing boring vocabulary again. Do you want more stuff, or do you want a language that will last a lifetime? After all, it's all about priorities. To try a free demo of this powerful language learning software, call 1-800-441-1454. Again, get your free demo now. 1-800-441-1454. That's 1-800-441-1454.
WPG Talk Radio, 1450.
Sean Hannity, always concerned for our country, always honoring our servicemen and servicewomen, and standing up for liberty every day.
All right, 25 till the top of the hour. All right, awaiting the president's speech. I guess 3.5 hours from right now, or 3 hours and 25 minutes from right now, to be exact. Hannity at our regular time, 10 Eastern tonight. So we had Phil Robertson of Duck Dynasty on yesterday. He had made comments on my television show where he said, convert them or kill them. Then it got a lot of play. And well, that's what ISIS is doing. Well, I don't know of any Christian groups that are saying to Muslims or any other people of any other faith, convert or we're going to kill you. And I think what he was saying is that you change, and I clarified it with him. In other words, change your evil ways, stop beheading innocent people, stop chasing people out of their homes, stop being involved in acts of terrorism, stop threatening the United States, or we're going to have to kill you because you're declaring war on us. You know, it was implied. You'd think even the mainstream media would be able to get that, but of course they're not. And so when he was on the program yesterday, he brought up the fact there's one common denominator. Is that when we're talking about terrorism, we're talking about radical Islamic terrorists. And people seem to be unwilling to make a distinction between that religion and other religions. For example, over at NBC News, you have this buffoon, Ed Schultz, going out there, attacking Phil Robertson, clearly not understanding they are not groups of radical Christians demanding people convert or die and beheading people and saying that they're going to take over countries. But yet he tried to make an analogy he failed, as usual, between Christianity and the comments convert or kill them with what ISIS is actually doing. Anyway, here to weigh in on all of this is our friend Terry Jeffrey. He's the editor-in-chief of CNS News. Fahim Yunus is with us, founder of MuslimAmerican.com. It's a website. He's also a clinical associate professor of medicine at the University of Maryland. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Hey, Sean, thanks for having me.
Look, Terry, you know the Catholic Christian community as well as anybody that I know, well-versed on it. Are there Christian groups out there doing anything morally equivalent to what ISIS and these radical Islamic groups are doing?
No, of course not. I mean, there's no doctrine in Christianity that says if you change your faith, you should be killed. But if any of your listeners right now, Sean, could go look at the State Department website, pull up the Human Rights Report or the Religious Freedom Report on Saudi Arabia, and John Kerry's State Department says that apostasy is punishable by death in Saudi Arabia. Proselytization is illegal in Saudi Arabia. So if someone in Saudi Arabia today were to decide that Jesus Christ was their Savior and that Muhammad was not the prophet of God, they would be subject to a death penalty under Saudi law.
Look, I've pointed this out about apostasy many years now. You're not allowed to change faiths. There's Christian persecution happening under Sharia in all sorts of countries. But Fahim, there is this, what I call mysterious reluctance, resistance to just identify this as a problem that the Muslim world has to deal with. Those that have hijacked their religion. Pretty much every story we hear about Islam is about radical Islamists, about the different groups, about their common denominator, about their desire to destroy Israel, kill Jews, now persecution of Christians, beheadings, caliphates, jihad, holy war, infidels, apostate. That's all we keep hearing. We don't hear this in other faiths.
And that is why I'm here, Sean, to represent the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, the oldest American Muslim organization that has always taken the position for over 100 years since our inception that people are free to choose their religion, and there is nothing in the Islamic doctrine that validates this crooked, vitriolic ideology that people will be killed, for changing the faith. Any faith that requires coercion, that has to build walls to keep its followers in it, it's a self-destructive idea. But this is the idea that we as Ahmadiyya Muslim community are taking to 206 countries around the globe, and we are fighting that ideological war for Islam's reformation, for its revival within the body of Islam. And I believe over the past 100 years, we have gained a lot of converts. If you go online, when I was in the school, I remember in 7th grade these conversations, and I would say a very strong stand that, guys, this cannot be the Islam. If that's what the Islam says, then I would want to check out. And today, a lot of those people, you can find at least 100 Muslim organizations who stand by us saying that there is no punishment for apostasy in Islam. So I strongly condemn that, and I believe...
But it's also the treatment, Fahim...
Every Muslim country should have the right to practice their faith.
But it's also the treatment of women under Sharia, under Islam, that they're mandated to cover under many Islamic countries.
But see, Sean, there's no. You see, the point really is women have the right to choose for themselves. Whenever men force women, I'm strongly against that, whether that happens in any society. So enforcement is completely wrong, but we also need to understand, I went to a Christian school in Lahore, and our nuns who were dressed just the way my mother was dressed. So there are Muslim women who are very educated.
But how many women are forced to do so? In other words, those that under certain countries, under Sharia law, they must cover. It's mandated they cover.
Yeah, and Ahmadiyya Muslim community will condemn every such man, every such law that will coerce a woman.
Look, women in Saudi Arabia can't drive. All right, go ahead, Terry.
Sean, Ayatollah Sistani, who was the top Shiite Muslim cleric in Iraq, he was in fact a Persian, but he was the top Ayatollah in Iraq. He's on his website in English. People can go and look at this. He's laid out the doctrine of muta marriage, which is temporary marriage, which is something that is accepted in Shiite Islam, which literally means contracting with a woman for a short-term marriage. And when the United States was trying to form a new constitution, create a government in Iraq after we overthrew Saddam Hussein, we had to pay deference to Ayatollah Sistani. That's why you saw Condoleezza Rice talking about the freedom of worship. People all through the Bush administration talking about the freedom of worship. They didn't want to embrace the free exercise of religion, which is guaranteed by our First Amendment, because Ayatollah Sistani doesn't believe in the free exercise of religion. What does your other guest say about that doctrine of muta marriage? Is that acceptable?
No, it is not, Terry. I think this is a fringe interpretation. You are right. Iran and some Muslims do practice that. But there is a huge debate about that. And once again, Ahmadiyya Muslim community very strongly stands against that. Not only the idea of not giving women their rights, but there is no coercion at the time of a marriage. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he has said, Islam is one of the major faiths to give women the right of divorce. Forget about anything else. Long before they got the right for divorce in the Western world, Quran gave them the right to divorce, and the Prophet said, even if you simply don't like the guy, you don't have to give any further reasoning. A woman has that blank check in her hand, but some of these political ideologies exploit that, and I strongly condemn it.
Under Islam, under your understanding of Islam, how many women can a man be married to at a single time?
See, again, these are the ideas which are very attractive for a Western conversation. The first step, before we even go to that, a woman has a right to divorce.
I'm just interested, under your understanding of the correct interpretation of Islam, how many women can a man be married to at one time?
Right. And I'll answer that question.
How many? What's the number?
I'll answer that. Just give me 30 seconds. Before Islam, no religion ever put a limit. In Bible, prophets have had 700 concubines. Islam put a limit on 4 women under exceptional circumstances. It's not a requirement, it is a permission. What Islam does not allow is fornication. Tiger Woods would have a very difficult time in Islam.
All right, so
that is
no
something Islam does not allow.
Can be married to up to 4 women at one time under a correct interpretation of Islam. Is that true?
Absolutely, but every woman has a right to check out.
Now, a man married to his 4 wives. Now, what does he need to do under correct interpretation of Islam to divorce one of those wives?
He doesn't, as I said, first the right of divorce is with the woman. If she is not accepting the second wife, she can simply seek a divorce.
But I'm not asking about the woman. I'm asking about this man who, in a correct interpretation of Islam, as you say, he's married 4 women. He has 4 wives at the current moment. He wishes to divorce one of those wives. Under a correct interpretation of Islam, what does he need to do to divorce one of those wives?
I don't know where you're going with this. You tell me.
I'm just interested in hearing your answer. Under a correct interpretation of Islam, this man married correctly and legitimately married to 4 women. What does he need to do to divorce one of those women? Under a correct interpretation of Islam.
It is the same process that is for divorce for one woman, but the more important point is that he has to give all the rights of a wife. He cannot.
What does he need to do to divorce that one wife?
You tell me. I think you have an answer in your mind.
No, I don't know. I'm asking you for correct interpretation of Islam. You say the man can have 4 wives. Okay, he has 4 wives. He wants only 3. What does he need to do in a correct interpretation?
Hey, Fahim, let me see if I can bridge the gap here because we're going around in a circle. Fahim, I think he's just asking you a simple question. What does a man need to do if he wants a divorce?
See, I'm a happily married man with 1 wife.
I got that. But what in your community, you're the president of your Muslim community. What is the process for you?
The process, we practice secularism. We practice separation of church and state. That is why we believe the law of the land supersedes in such situations. So we stick by the law of the American land. Now, you say hypothetical in Saudi Arabia, they will have their own law, but in my understanding, in Islam, yes, a man can give a divorce over a 3-month period where he has to separate himself from the woman, stop conjugal relationships, continue to provide for her, continue to give her rights, and then seek a divorce after 3 months.
Let me see if I can move
all the rights to that woman.
Here's the issue, I think, Fahim and Terry, if I can. We've got major issues with radical Islamists. There are people like Fahim, you're taking on the radicals hijacking religion, but your voices are very, very few, those courageous enough to do this. And I assume that you probably have experienced threats as a result of your public commentary. Am I wrong?
Well, of course, there are people who are extremely offended by our peaceful view of Islam.
And would you agree with me that most moderate Muslims are afraid to speak out because they will be deemed apostates and traitors by the more radical elements that have taken over the religion? And
that is exactly what we expect.
But you agree with that, right? I mean, that's true.
I want people to appreciate the risk that we are taking. Yeah.
So in other words, there is a fear factor for Muslims that do not like radical jihadists if they speak out. And do you find that many of them are very intimidated and afraid to speak out?
See, but the point is...
No, this is an important question. This is an important question.
We're about to go on yet another war to try to fight this idea. You don't fight an idea with bombs. You can only fight an idea with a better idea. That's what we do for free speech.
But hang on a second.
For blasphemy.
Do you really believe that radical ISIS militants that are beheading and killing children and their children that are carrying the heads of those that have been beheaded, do you really think you can have a negotiation with them or a discussion with them?
I believe that in the end, a bad idea has to be replaced by a better idea. That's exactly what we do with free speech.
So what is your answer? What is your
bad speech with good speech?
Then what is your answer to ISIS is good speech and say, please, Mr. Terrorist, don't raise your flag in our White House, don't meet us in New York, stop beheading our journalists?
No. We have a right to self-defense. Islam has a right to self-defense. America has a right to self-defense. So if anything is a threat to our people, of course, we're not going to engage in a dialogue. All I'm saying is, let's not boil this very complicated issue, simple one-liners, because we've been
I think there's only one answer.
War doesn't work.
I think these people are evil. I think they're the modern-day Nazis that want to destroy Jews and Christians. And I think unless they change their ways, we're going to have to kill them because that's the only way we'll stop them. Terry.
Sean, if I could just say that years ago, back in the mid-1960s, I lived in Cairo, Egypt. I studied Arabic at the American University in Cairo, a great institution. I lived in a country and a city that was Islamic. There were Christians there, Coptic Christians and other kind of Christians. I lived down the street from the Roman Catholic Church, the neighborhood of Zamalek. And my personal experience living in a Muslim city, perhaps one of the biggest Muslim cities in the world, was people were charitable to me, they were nice to me, I was safe, It was a good place to live. I enjoyed being there immensely. At the time, Hosni Mubarak was the president of Egypt. And what happened is the United States turned its back on Hosni Mubarak, I believe, basically stabbed the guy in the back. He was a friend and ally of the United States. He ran a secular government. Christians could live there in freedom. Peaceful people basically were at peace in Cairo and elsewhere in Egypt. I'm wondering what your guest thinks. Did the United States make a mistake?
All right, real quick, we're almost out of time. Fahim?
Say that again?
Did they make a mistake by not supporting Mubarak?
I think we made a mistake by propping up these autocrats where the people were yearning for democracy, and that is why there is so much resentment against the United States in those parts of the world, because we've said one thing, but then we've propped up these dictators in multiple Muslim countries.
All right, we're gonna have to...
how would you stop the Muslim Brotherhood? And it seems like everywhere a vacuum of power has been created in the Middle East, where a secular leader like Mubarak or even Saddam Hussein was thrown out. What you've seen is the rise of Islamic radicals. How do you get past the rise of an ISIS or an Islamic Brotherhood or a Nusra Front when you knock out a secular leader in a place like Egypt?
Right, by empowering voices like Ahmadiyya Muslim Community, which is a global organization and exactly fighting the same fight that all of us...
We're going to have to end it there. I appreciate it, guys. We're just out of time. Terry Jeffrey, Fahim Yunus. Hey, when you're planning for your future, what do? You do financial planning, you get insurance, but to get real peace of mind, you got to make sure that you and your family and your finances are also legally protected. Now, where do you turn for the legal help that you can trust? Well, that's LegalZoom.com, because for over 13 years, they've been helping great Americans like you get personalized wills and powers of attorney, living trusts. Now, LegalZoom also helps file LLCs, S-Corps, and much more to protect you against personal liability. Now, the company was started by some of the best and brightest legal minds in the country, like my friend Bob Shapiro. They make it painless for you to get the legal protection that you need. Now, if you have questions, you can always reach out to someone at LegalZoom. They'll talk you through the process. You get the legal help through independent attorneys and self-help services at your very specific direction. But LegalZoom.com is not a law firm, but you're going to get special savings. And be sure to enter my last name, Hannity, in the referral box when you check out. Just go to LegalZoom.com today. LegalZoom.com. Protect your business and take control of your family's future. LegalZoom.com.
Exposing government waste and abuse of your liberties every day. Sean Hannity is on right now.
Set the first button on your car radio for the best in talk. WPG Talk Radio 1450.
America experienced the depravity of radical Islamists September 11, 2001. Christians, ethnic minorities, and women are experiencing it right now throughout the entire Middle East. You have radical Islamists recently beheading an American journalist right on camera. Now, they go by different names, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas, but their goals are exactly the same: the destruction of Israel and Western civilization. Take Hamas. They launched thousands of rockets on Israeli civilians. They use women and children to defend their arsenals from destruction. Israel faces more rocket attacks from an armed Hamas and attacks from the United Nations as well. We need to let our leaders know that Hamas must be condemned and disarmed. And we stand with Israel in their right to self-defense and the values, of course, that Israel represents: freedom and tolerance. Just go to this website to help. It's StopHamasNow.com and sign the letter that will be delivered to our leaders in Washington. Israel's fight is America's fight and the civilized world's fight. This ad is paid for by StopHamasNow.com.
WPG Talk Radio 1450 has your opportunity to ask Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian anything you want about the world's playground. Join us Wednesday evening, September 10th at 6 for our monthly Ask the Mayor program, hosted by Harry Hurley, brought to you by the New Jersey Casino Reinvestment Development Authority and Aveda Security, the experience you need for the security you deserve, on WPG Talk Radio 1450, South Jersey's talk station.
SeizeTheDeal.com. Save big at South Jersey's favorite restaurants and businesses from SeizeTheDeal.com. This week, Seize the Deal and get a great deal from the Island Grill. Get a $25 gift card for $17.50 and enjoy great cuisine and relaxed atmosphere at the shore. Seize this deal and dozens of others from across South Jersey at SeizeTheDeal.com. That's SeizeTheDeal.com.
SeizeTheDeal.com. This is Harry Hurley, honorary chairman of the April C. Kaufman Memorial Golf Outing, set for the Fraser family's Mays Landing Golf and Country Club on Friday, September 26th. 7 a.m. registration, 8 a.m. shotgun start. It's $125 per golfer. It includes a nice awards luncheon. It all benefits Warfighter Sports, a program of Disabled Sports USA, South Jersey chapter. For more information, call the Mays Landing Golf and Country Club, 609-641-4411.
I bet your air conditioning is chewing up electricity this summer. How big is your bill? Well, if you had a solar system from Astrum Solar, you'd be paying a fraction of what you're paying now. And you know what? You can't afford not to have solar, because you can get an Astrum Solar system on your home without any money down. Spend nothing and you'll still save every month on electricity. There's an old adage, if it sounds too good to be true, it isn't. That's wrong. It is too good, and it is true. With Astrum Solar, you can save on electricity every month of every year, especially during these hot summer months. All you need is good credit and a sunny roof. And if you act by September 30th, we'll give you an extra $1,000 cash back. How's that for too good to be true? Why pay your utility more when you could be paying less? To start keeping more of your hard-earned cash, visit us at astrumsolar.com/less or call 844-ASTRUM-1. That's ASTRUM1, 844-ASTRUM1. We do solar right. Astrum Solar.
Working out tonight? See you at the fitness center.
There's so much waiting for you when you come home tonight.
Hey, let's swim some laps tonight. Meet you at the pool.
It's friends, family, and a whole community of people and events that you look forward to. Cumberland Green Apartment Homes. It's where you live. The best place to love your life is right at home, and you'll find that's true when you're living at Cumberland Green Apartment Homes. We're not just apartments. We're a community of people that are just like you that love to be active. You'll enjoy great amenities like our clubhouse with a business center, Wi-Fi cafe, and a state-of-the-art fitness center. Enjoy a game on the tennis court, take the kids to the playground, and more. Cumberland Green Apartment Homes offers 4 different floor plans for your new apartment, featuring maple cabinets and granite-like countertops. Plus, we're in a great location that's close to just about everything. Cumberland Green Apartment Homes. It's where you live.
Hey, it's movie night at your place. I'll bring the popcorn.
Just off Route 55, exit 26 on Liddell Avenue. Online at CumberlandGreenAPTS.com.
Listen to WPG Talk Radio 1450 with Radio Puff, our free app that puts all of your favorite talk shows right at your fingertips. Powered by Autolenders.com. Stay connected with the latest South Jersey news and weather information right from your iPhone or Droid. Radio Pup, powered by Autolenders.com. Now's a great time to check out all the low-mileage, fuel-efficient, certified cars at Autolenders. See their full selection at Autolenders.com or at any of their 5 New Jersey locations.
All right, that's going to wrap things up for today's. All right, so the president speaks at 9. We are on our regular time, 10 Eastern, on Hannity, on Fox, with the best post-speech coverage available. Senator John McCain, Senator Rand Paul, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, Liz Cheney, Juan Williams. Also going to have full coverage of the ongoing controversy with Ray Rice, Roger Goodell, and the NFL, Tony Richardson, former NFL player, Bernard McGurk, and Geraldo. That's 10 Eastern tonight on Hannity, right after the president. Hope you'll join us. See you back here tomorrow.
Hall of Fame catcher Johnny Bench for Blue Emu.
After my playing days were over, I was happy to discover Blue Emu Original Super Strength Cream, the #1 selling muscle and joint cream. Now I also use Blue Emu Continuous Pain Relief Spray for those hard-to-reach places. It's also odor-free and made with soothing, deep-penetrating emu oil. Blue Emu Continuous Pain Relief Spray sure helps me with my joint pains and muscle aches. Blue Emu, it works fast and you won't stink.
Available at Walmart, Walgreens, and stores everywhere.
Do you have a family member who's getting older and can no longer be safely left alone? Get to know Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care. Visiting Angels assists adults nationwide to continue living at home and avoid moving into a nursing home. Experienced, compassionate caregivers provide assistance in hygiene, meals, and light housework. Services provided up to 24 hours a day at affordable rates, and you may select your caregiver before service begins. For senior home care you can trust, check out visitingangels.com. Franchise opportunities available. VisitingAngels.com.
WPGG Atlantic City.
Keeping you and your business safe and sound is the job of Aveda Security. Try your luck in Atlantic City, but never gamble on your safety. The company that keeps Atlantic City safe, Aveda Security, is a full-service security firm offering highly professional uniformed security officers, concierge, valet, event staff, and executive protection. Local business owners can rest assured that Aveda will customize a security plan based on the individual needs of your business, recognizing that each client and each property is unique. Aveda will come to your business and provide recommendations to maximize the return on your security investment. And its corporate headquarters are right in Atlantic City. Aveda Security uses all the advanced technology available today, and they're recognized as a leader in the field of security. Aveda Security is currently accepting applications for all positions. Go to AvedaSecurity.com to apply. Try your luck in Atlantic City, but never gamble on your safety. Aveda Security, 520 Pacific Avenue in the Bella Building, Atlantic City. Online at AvedaSecurity.com.
The Ask the Mayor program on WPG is proudly brought to you by the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority, continuing improvement of the region through initiatives to bolster Atlantic City's revenue and job growth. The CRDA is investing hundreds of millions of dollars throughout the community on projects that will bring new businesses, housing, meetings, and conventions, visitors, and revenue to Atlantic City, such as Bass Pro Shops, Harris Conference Center, Tropicana's property upgrades and renovations, expansion of ACCC's Atlantic City campus, the Lighthouse District Park Greenway, facade improvements along Atlantic Avenue, nearly 400 new housing units, and infrastructure improvements such as the paving of Pacific Avenue. As the summer winds down, free entertainment such as outdoor concerts and movies are still available every night throughout the city. And coming in September, the Miss America pageant and Show Us Your Shoes parade, Pro Beach Volleyball Tournament, Boardwalk Art Show, AC International Triathlon, and the Seafood Festival. Let's do AC.
Now, WPG Talk Radio 1450 presents Ask the Mayor, presented by the New Jersey Casino Reinvestment Development Authority and Aveda Security. It's your opportunity to ask Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian anything you want about the world's playground. To talk to Mayor Guardian, call 407-1450. That's 407-1450. Now, with Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian, here's Harry Hurley.
Good evening and welcome to Ask the Mayor. It is a privilege to be with you once a month. We have the opportunity to present Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian. This program is devoted to you, the listener, so that you can ask your questions. I will feather questions in around you. Our phone lines are open right now, 609-407-1450. I have a first question that we typically open the program up with, and then we'll defer to your calls for the next hour and 4 minutes that we have with Ask the Mayor, presented by the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority and Aveda Security. This monthly program gives you the opportunity to participate directly at such a relevant time with the mayor of the world's famous playground, Mayor Don Guardian of Atlantic City. We're streaming real-time video and audio right now. Thank you, Kyle McCann, our digital genius here at Town Square Media Atlantic City. Thank you to our general manager, Mike Rubel, for all of his support. Our executive program director of WPG Talk Radio 1450, Chris Coleman. So you can watch us on our YouTube channel. You can watch us directly at WPG1450.com. You can pose your questions either by email or using hashtag WPG Ask the Mayor. And of course, while you're at it, like us on Facebook. You can post your questions there as well. And if you're away from your radio, take us with us on your smartphones. Mobily at WPG1450.com or via Radio Pup, our free Town Square Media app. I want to take this opportunity to welcome Mayor Don Guardian. To say that it is a smorgasbord tonight on Ask the Mayor, Mr. Mayor, is an understatement. Welcome to your program.
Thank you, Harry. I appreciate it. Always good to be on WPG Talk Radio 1450 AM.
Great to be with you. Sort of in order of chronology, and I do want to get to some of the things that are headline in the news right now. But we had the opportunity this morning, and he's a terrific guy. Hal Wirths is the commissioner, as you know, of labor and workforce development for the state of New Jersey. Great guy. He was here himself. More than 50 companies, as you know, were
60.
here. There you go, which would still be more than 50. And this was an important job fair in Atlantic City, and I know that you were there. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so, part one, Harry, was Local 54, Bob McDevitt, and Unite Here stepping up to the plate. The governor and the commissioner bringing about 50 people that have been here for about 9-10 days now with the resource center. So there's some 1,900 people that have come through the door finding out information on unemployment, that if their benefits run out at the end of December, how they can access the National Health Care Plan, information on mortgages and mortgage holidays for while they're unemployed. And then today was really a job fair. Commissioner was able to get 60 companies, almost 1,500 jobs is what was available today. I know when I was there, I left around noon, 12:30, and there was 2,000 individuals that had come through the line so far. Very well organized, help with resume writing. They even had photocopies. You could make up to 50 copies of your resume, so you could reach out to different businesses. Very happy to see 60 businesses that had openings really take the time to come down, realizing that as a community we all need to work together to get some of these people back to work. So real important. It was very good to see it, very well organized. Commissioner Worth, down here several times in the last 2 weeks, and this was the largest job fair in the history of New Jersey.
What's interesting, too, is it really demonstrates how well thought of, even though there are these horrific headlines. I'm going to get into some of that a little later in your program, Mayor. And again, our phone lines are open for you to call in right now, 609-407-1450. Email your questions at WPG1450.com. And, of course, use your hashtag WPG Ask the Mayor. And you can write your questions in as well. So if you call in, we'll get you on air. We have a stack as I come into every single Ask the Mayor program night, to a stack of your tweets and your emails, so your participation is fantastic. But what I thought was interesting, this really shows the appreciation of what is a very sophisticated workforce. Sometimes when it's our own backyard, we can take it for granted, but these companies came in big numbers, and I understand there were companies actually that were turned away. They're going to do another Atlantic City Job Fair because they didn't even have enough room for other companies that wanted to be a part of it today.
That's correct.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. We're very, very happy with the turnout, and then we'll be moving to Boardwalk Hall after Trump Plaza closes to provide a resource center and then another job fair.
This is one that is it's in the news, I think, regrettably, because when something gets out, and I'm going to talk about Trump-Taj later, when something gets out early and sometimes wrong, it really just starts a whole snowball of events. But it's out there. The genie's out of the bottle, even though things that were discussed in the Governor's Summit were supposed to stay within those four walls until Mr. Hansen, develops the report and all these things. But it's out there, and I think as mayor of Atlantic City and as the director of public safety, and this being your program, you should have the opportunity to comment on it. What are your thoughts relative to the possibility of an Atlantic County Police Department similar to the Camden model that obviously would dramatically alter the collective bargaining process that presently exists in Atlantic City if this were to happen? Your thoughts?
Okay, so this is something that broke in the last day. I had given the governor my word, along with everyone else at the meeting, that we would come up with concrete plans and agreements before there would be any discussion. But certainly reading the papers, you hear about the Camden County police model and whether or not it's relevant for Atlantic City. I have to tell you, Harry, that I don't know what the Camden model is. In other words, yes, I understand. You fired all the police in Camden, and then you started a county police force, and you brought back about half of the police force with all sorts of different regulations. So once it became obvious that this was a discussion item, and keeping to my promise that times in Atlantic City are so tough that we have to look at every department in the city. I'm certainly going to be exploring over the next few weeks exactly what's in Camden County. How many officers they have, what are the salaries, what are the benefits program, what are the rules, procedures, policies, and how they're doing with crime. I do have to tell you that I could not have picked a police chief in Henry White that is more supportive and working harder on both issues of getting a better resolve with the community as well as fighting crime. And Paul Barbera is about as best as they can come as the head of the PVA. And these are two individuals that are very concerned about the comments and what people are writing about. And I told both of them that we'd be meeting and talking, that we'd have to see where we're going. But I really can't make any more comments. When I talk, I want to be talking intelligently. And at this point, it's just rumors that we hear.
You're always very good like that, but you do also know these are extraordinary times. And I'm not looking to put you in the meat grinder. You know, you and I have a great rapport, and it's based on honesty and, you know, and mutual respect and trust. But you have basically a $66 million annual police line item,
right?
And you have basically a $65 million problem next year.
Right.
So this is, I mean, it's like an all hands on deck.
Yeah.
And maybe some things have to happen that in the best of times you wouldn't even consider.
Right, Harry. So, you know, in the beginning of the year, there was no consideration for any of this. Times have changed right now. If you take into consideration, we lost $3 billion in assessment last year, and that required a 49% tax increase. We know that the assessments will probably go down another $2 billion next year. There's no way that we can have a 30 or 35% tax increase. There can be no tax increase next year. In order to not have a tax increase, we need either to reduce the budget or bring in extra money for about $65 million. That's the shortfall we're going to have next year. And so police and fire and beach patrol and sanitation and health and recreation and everybody that works in every department, license and inspection, engineering, CDBG programs, there's no one and there's nothing that we can't not consider. Everything is on the table. And so, Harry, I think the difference between the early part of the year and now, coming into the fall, realizing how tough this market is, what's happened, and that we can't have tax increases. What happens is every department is getting a different challenge. Before it was, can you reduce your cost? Can you do with less people? Can you do with less space? Now it's, what's the purpose of your department? And how can you do it effectively? Forget about the organization you have now or what you've been handed over the last 50 years. It's no longer the same. And so we have to rethink how we do everything in government. Obviously, I'm playing the game between making sure that we have safe streets, that they're clean, that we're providing health standards, that we have programs for our kids and for our seniors, and at the same time I've got to reduce costs. So what I've promised the governor is that we would look at other cities in New Jersey for everything we do and find out cities that provide the same service or better services at a lesser cost. And as we look at that, see if that's practical for Atlantic City. We're going to need the state in a big way for next year's budget and for several years' budget. And so it's not just cuts that Atlantic City is going to make, it's also what kind of financial support the state's going to make.
And I understand the state is willing to be very supportive of a Camden model police force in Atlantic City, hypothetically.
I won't make that statement, but I would say that the state is very supportive of providing financial help to the city, provided we're digging ourselves out, that we're really rethinking of how we do things and how we're going to cut costs.
You're listening to and/or watching Mayor Don Guardian. It is Town Square Media, Atlantic City's WPG Talk Radio 1450's Ask the Mayor. We come by you monthly, typically around this Wednesday of every month for your planning purposes for the month of October. We'll reconvene Wednesday, October 15th from 6 o'clock until 7:05. And we appreciate the mayor giving us the bonus 5 minutes each month on the other side of the hour. We're going to go to your calls now at 609-407-1450, and we go to Morris. Morris, your question for Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. First of all, I've spoken with you before, and I wanted to thank you for your input and your help in getting the building I live in free of bed bugs, and you did a great job.
Thank you, Morris.
The reason I'm calling today is we were having a discussion. We all take the bus to that you provide for us. Got your name on it. The bus to, I guess it was ShopRite. And we were discussing the problem with all these casinos closing, and all of us agreed on one thing, and I thought I would share it with you. So I thought maybe you could share with the governor or whoever. If you or the state were able to pass a law or resolution allowing the age of gambling to be lowered to 18, you would immediately have a new population of casino goers of 8 million just in the New York, our area, and on the East Coast, 20 million. That's a whole new population of people coming here who couldn't go anywhere else to gamble. Now, I know that might seem, that everybody might seem exotic, but everybody that we were talking to today agreed that if you can take a bullet for your country at the age of 18, that you ought to be able to have a drink and double down on 11 at a casino. That would save the casinos. It would save all the jobs. It would bring all these people into Atlantic City, millions of new customers into Atlantic City. And even if they're 18, so what? I felt very grown up when I was 18. I think I could handle it then. I know they can handle it now. And it's only 18, 19, and 20-year-olds we're talking about. It's a whole new population of gamblers that we need. And I was thinking, where could they possibly come from? You just can't create them, but they're there. We just have to lower the voting age. We have to lower the age they can come in and gamble. I don't know what you have to do that. I don't know if the governor has to sign something or you have to get the legislature to pass something. But we thought that was a very good idea. And then before all the other places, the other territories, the Pennsylvania, the others, chime in on it, it'll be years. And you can use the money that we would probably get from all the new influx of gamblers to do all the programs that you've, wanted to do ever since you came into office and make Atlantic City the destination. I mean, we've got the ocean. We've got the boardwalk. We just now need the people. And if we open it up to 8 million people in our immediate area, 20 million people on the East Coast, and 40 million people nationwide, that's the age group. 18, 19, and
All right, Morris, I'm going to jump in only because of time. We have so much ground to cover, and I get the question. I know the mayor does as well. Obviously, 21 is pretty well baked in, Mayor, where it is by law. It is persuasive when people say you can die for your country at age 18, but you can't do this at age 18. I'm pretty persuadable to some of this. It was 18 when I was 18 years old, Mayor, and then it changed. Your thoughts to Morris's questions, a lot of them.
Sure. So I have to tell you, Morris, as I have with everyone that has written, email, text me in the last few weeks in particular, I bring everything to the table, every suggestion. My thought, Harry, is, I'm 61, so it was exactly what you're talking about was the topic. We were drafted at 18, but we couldn't vote and we couldn't drink. And so I was very lucky. When I was 18, I went off to college, and the state of New Jersey decided that I was old enough now to vote, and I was able to vote. And they thought that I was old enough to drink. And so at 18, I was able to drink. And I think that my generation proved the state very wrong, that 18 was a good age to be drinking. And, within 5 or 6 years, they brought it up to 21. I really have no other comment than I respect Morris's position. I'll bring it into the table.
Yeah, I think it's pretty settled that 21 is responsible, and it had been that, and there was a reason they changed it from that, actually. Let's take a brief time out. Approaching 18 minutes past the hour. We're going to come right back to your phone calls for Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian. It's Town Square, Atlantic City, WPG Talk Radio 1450's Ask the Mayor program for your planning purposes next month. Wednesday, October 15th, will come your way. We have a lot of ground to cover, a lot of your tweets that we're going to share in the form of questions, email that we received, and your on-air phone calls continue as well. We'll be back in just 2 minutes. Stay with us. 609-407-1450 phone lines are open right now.
The Ask the Mayor program on WPG is proudly brought to you by the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority, continuing improvement of the region through initiatives to bolster Atlantic City's revenue and job growth. The CRDA is investing hundreds of millions of dollars throughout the community on projects that will bring new businesses, housing, meetings, and conventions, visitors, and revenue to Atlantic City, such as Bass Pro Shops, Harris Conference Center, Tropicana's property upgrades and renovations, expansion of ACCC's Atlantic City campus, the Lighthouse District Park Greenway, facade improvements along Atlantic Avenue, nearly 400 new housing units, and infrastructure improvements such as the paving of Pacific Avenue. As the summer winds down, free entertainment such as outdoor concerts and movies are still available every night throughout the city. And coming in September, the Miss America pageant and Show Us Your Shoes parade, Pro Beach Volleyball Tournament, Boardwalk Art Show, AC International Triathlon, and the Seafood Festival. Let's do AC.
Keeping you and your business safe and sound is the job of Abatis Security. Try your luck in Atlantic City, but never gamble on your safety. The company that keeps Atlantic City safe, Abatis Security, is a full-service security firm offering highly professional uniformed security officers, concierge, valet, event staff, and executive protection. Local business owners can rest assured that Abatis will customize a security plan based on the individual needs of your business, recognizing that each client and each property is unique. Abatis will come to your business and provide recommendations to maximize the return on your security investment. And its corporate headquarters are right in Atlantic City. Abatis Security uses all the advanced technology available today, and they're recognized as a leader in the field of security. Abatis Security is currently accepting applications for all positions. Go to abatissecurity.com to apply. Try your luck in Atlantic City, but never gamble on your safety. Abatis Security, 520 Pacific Avenue in the Bella Building, Atlantic City. Online at abatissecurity.com.
WPG Talk Radio 1450 presents Ask the Mayor, presented by the New Jersey Casino Reinvestment Development Authority and Abatis Security. To talk to Mayor Guardian, call 407-1450. Now, with Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian, here's Harry Hurley.
Thanks very much. Welcome back. Building a better future for Atlantic City, the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority is proud to support today's Ask the Mayor program right here on WPG Talk Radio 1450. And Abatis Security will keep you and your business safe and sound. Try your luck in the world's famous playground in Atlantic City, but never gamble on your safety with Abatis Security online at abatissecurity.com. Mayor, I'm just going to throw it out. It's not confirmed, but there are two national media confirmations. This would be wonderful news. I don't speak for you, but I think you'll agree. There is word, and major networks are reporting that Revel has been sold. Even a price tag has been reported by one or so of the national organizations that are reporting it. Would be great news for Atlantic City.
It would. I have not received confirmation on that. I know it was close, but I'd rather not confirm until Revel makes a statement.
And I only brought it up because it's literally breaking at this very moment. And again, I'm not confirming it either, but two major networks are confirming it. The national, regional, local media coverage about Atlantic City Mayor has been just brutal. It's just unbelievable. And Philadelphia, I think in particular, really taking shots. And it's pretty parochial if you ask me, but they're running headlines. Atlantic City is not happy. Atlantic City is sinking. All these things. How do you respond to this onslaught of hyper negative publicity?
Yeah, so I have to tell you that it's not unusual to do 20 or 25 broadcasts a week these days. And as they ask questions, I try to explain to them what's going on here. And certainly there's some tragic news with the gaming industry, but I also talk about us having to make a transition away from gaming. That's the issue. It's just that it's been devastating because it all happened at once. But I have to tell you, Harry, I don't think we would be getting the help from the national government, from the federal government, from the county government, and I won't be taking the steps that are needed to reduce the cost of government and to reduce the cost of doing business in Atlantic City if these weren't trying times. So I think that it is what it is, but what we do is now the point of bringing in the college, bringing in a water park, bringing in people to buy the properties that are vacated are now more critical than ever. And the concept of bringing airlines in to booster our convention and conference trade, expanding conference and conventions. This is what I talk about, and I tell them, listen, these are big properties, and if they don't make it as casinos, then we've got to rethink them. And I use Claridge as an example. Here's a great old hotel that's being redone beautifully by TGM, and by next year they'll have one of the largest art galleries in the country, as well as a children's museum.
Do you hear anything about TJM and what they're going to do with the former Atlantic Club? We hear a lot about what's happening at the one property because it's open. They've done some things with the showroom, as you know. Nice reinvestment actually, yes, in the showroom. But we don't hear anything about what's happening at the old Atlantic Club.
No, and certainly there are a number of groups that are interested in the Atlantic Club and have contacted TGM, but there's nothing more than talk. And I learned quickly that there are a lot of good ideas that I hear, but unless they're settling down, putting the deposit down, it's just talk.
And it still has that deed restriction.
Yes.
So that's an issue for a lot of people who would like to run it as a casino. I predict down the road it's Captain Obvious stuff, but I think those deed restrictions are going to come back to bite us someday, if not already. I'm going to say it because it's out there. CNBC is reporting that Atlantic City's bankrupt Revel Casino has agreed to a cash sale of $90 million to Glenn Straub. And this is straight from court documents. So I'm just putting it out there. It's a report. It's in the news. And I take that as a serious type report because they're actually referring to court documents. I want to compare it, if you will, to something that I think is utterly scurrilous and reckless, and that is yesterday's reporting that went into today's news cycles, automatically just assuming that the Trump Taj Mahal Casino Resort is closing. Everything, if somebody took 5 extra seconds to just study the documents, you would see Trump Entertainment is trying to keep the Trump Taj Mahal open. They have put in there that if they don't get certain concessions, that they might have to close the Trump Taj Mahal. But look at the upsetting, unsettling that they have created by just fabricating the close, and that has not been announced.
Yeah, very sad, Harry.
Terrible.
I mean, we knew Trump Plaza was an incredible financial drain on the parent company, but the Taj Mahal is a beautiful facility. It's 25 years old. They added a new tower a few years ago. I think that it's unfair. They are obviously restructuring through a bankruptcy, and they certainly have said that they need some concessions in order to move forward. People are certainly going to get burnt in a bankruptcy if the Trump properties owe you money. It's certainly not a good scene, but we need to keep Trump there, and I think it's very unfair saying that they're closing in November. They're certainly taking the steps
when they
to
haven't
restructure
said that.
When they haven't said it. Exactly. And certainly Revel, it's critical. There was no question in anyone's mind we have to bring Revel back.
If that is true, and CNBC is, obviously looking at documents before they would just not, I don't think they would go willy-nilly and just announce a sale that isn't documented. $90 million for a building that cost over $2.4 billion.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a sale.
Yes, and that's the point that I've been trying to make, that the bargain prices of Atlantic City will attract people when we didn't attract them before.
Someday down the road, Mayor, when all of this has settled and all this hysteria is over, people are going to say, do you remember those buying opportunities that were happening?
No question about it. This is a bargain price to buy property in Atlantic City, to buy a home.
All right, your callers are stacking up, and I want to get to them, but I have one quick question because I don't know that we'll have time to get back to this anytime before 7:05. Miss America pageant is here, as you well know. You've been at a lot of the ceremonies that have taken place so far. What are your early observations?
Yeah, it's great to have Miss America back. It extends the summer season. It creates a lot of excitement in town. People love the preliminaries. I love seeing Miss America all over town. Great publicity for the city on ABC this Sunday night. And, of course, the parade this Saturday, Show Us Your Shoes parade, starting at 5 o'clock.
Which we will be broadcasting live right here.
Love it.
On WPG Talk Radio 1450. Executive Program Director Chris Coleman, yours truly, me, Heather DeLuca, our program director of our sister station, Sojo 104.9. We will be at Trump Taj Mahal on the beautiful balcony overlooking the Atlantic City Boardwalk. It is just a delight. And let me make one other quick comment and turn it back to you, then we'll get your callers on, Mayor. Nina Davalori, Miss America.
Yes.
She is spectacular.
Yep, that's the word.
Fabulous.
As being the new mayor, I couldn't have asked for a better individual to represent the Miss America organization. Talented, intelligent, beautiful, very warm and friendly. We've invited her several times to come back to Atlantic City. She's always accepted it, changed her schedule so she could do it. And actually this summer at one of the old school concerts at the Basin, she spent several hours just doing selfies and signing autographs and just being a wonderful individual. So I told Nina this is definitely her adopted hometown, and we hope to see her often.
609-407-1450 phone lines are open. We go to Viola. It is your time to ask the mayor. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, Mayor. I've been a waitress in this city for 40 years. I'm 86 years old now. The one thing that I found way back when we had all the big conventions, and I waited on the heads of these conventions, is that they love being in the boardwalk hall or the convention hall. They liked it because they could go out during their break and walk on the boardwalk, or they could go to the other hotels and see what was going on with their rivals. For big conventions, we beat them out in those years. If you go back and look in the archives, we beat out New York, San Francisco, all of them, all because when they go there, they have to get a taxi to go to the convention halls that they have. And if they come here, they park their car for the 4 or 5 days they're in, never think about it again, and just enjoy themselves, walk down the boardwalk, and we made money like crazy. In fact, I think more money than you do in the convention hall you have now. That's not they like to be on the boardwalk. And if you could get a group out that would sell the boardwalk for the conventions, you would have the biggest conventions you can get.
Thanks, Viola. I think you're right, but they did move to the other side of town with the new convention center. It certainly competes very well.
My friend Whalen did that.
It competes very well against other casinos. I think, though, today, as we're talking, we have an opportunity to do what we've been trying to do for the last 20 years, and that is connect the walk, which is so popular, in the convention center with the boardwalk, giving you a wonderful opportunity to feel safe and be safe as you go down to boardwalk. So I think there's two opportunities. One is obviously the new indoor market that the building in front of the Claridge will get you from Atlantic all the way down to the Claridge into Brighton Park and onto the boardwalk. Number two, with Trump Plaza closing now, I think we have the opportunity to take Trump Plaza down, leave the garage. One, it'll bring the grandeur of Boardwalk Hall back instead of being squashed in. Number two, you line the Michigan Avenue with stores and restaurants and coffee shops so that you continue all the way down to the boardwalk. And I think, Harry, at the boardwalk, you build a stage. And so now we have a permanent outdoor arena. You come into town, you feel good, it's safe, and we connect the boardwalk and the boardwalk benefits and the walk benefits and the convention center benefits.
Now you're talking.
I had a great deal I had the first dealing school in Atlantic City. And
congratulations.
I put a lot of people to work. And I talked to you one day when you were at Community Center, Community Haven.
Yes.
And I mentioned to you about the Back Bay and how it's dredged out, and you could bring ships in there.
Yes, Viola, I have to tell you, we're working on that as well. Gardner's Basin is going to be drastically expanded, tripled in size, and the engineers are looking right now at the viability of bringing a large ship in there. And I know that this study was done 10 years ago and not released, and it showed that the basin is deep. It's 25, 35, in some cases it's 60 foot deep. Deeper than the ocean in front of the beaches.
Viola, I've got to jump, and I just want to remind you and our listeners who either don't know or have forgotten, the Boardwalk Hall is being used for fabulous shows.
Yeah.
Herbalife, 5,000 people. You had Five Links, 4,000 people.
Absolutely.
Viola, it's happening, and it's going to happen even more. Let's get back to your calls for Mayor Don Guardian after I share one more breaking news item, and this is a story that I broke on Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 1450 here at Town Square Media, Atlantic City, and that's at MGM Resorts, Inc. They're back. They have been approved. It is official. They are back, and they intend to do something. I understand, Mayor. This is another great piece of news.
That is very good news.
It is official. BC is next, and you can join us after that at 609-407-1450. BC, ask the mayor. You're on the air. Go.
Hey guys, Brian. Mayor, I've been holding my powder dry here for a while, but I'm glad to see some major changes are coming with your budget. I'm hoping the governor, you don't have to answer this, brought something up about reining in the school district also, because that's been running amok forever. So, it's a huge part of the budget. And
as if there's not enough on the mayor's plate.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, it's,
Yeah, the reality is you can't ignore the duly elected school board. I mean, that's their budget, just like this.
How do they do it in Pleasantville with somebody from the state?
They earned a monitor, is what happened there.
Well, I think AC earns ones too.
Yeah, there's no question, Brian. I mean, the tax bill is almost 50-50, cost of city government, cost of education, and we really need to encourage our Board of Education to take a serious look at their budget and to reduce costs. We just can't afford. We're the most expensive city in the state of New Jersey in educating our children.
Yep, doing a great job. Do what you got to do.
Brian, thank you very much. Good to talk to you. 609-407-1450. Phone lines are open for Mayor Don Guardian of Atlantic City. It's Town Square Media, Atlantic City's Ask the Mayor program right here on WPG Talk Radio 1450. We'll reconvene October's program with Ask the Mayor and Mayor Don Guardian on Wednesday, October 15th. Mayor, there must be 10 or 15 almost identical tweets in the form of questions for you and everybody, even though I don't think you have a darn thing to do with it. You are the mayor of Atlantic City, and people want to know what your opinion is about this whole Ray Rice situation that happened in Atlantic City.
So, really, no comment at all.
I mean,
very sad.
It's sad, and you absolutely have no participation. You could just be a person like any of us that has an opinion, but it's not within your official duties as mayor. But the question came in, and I thought we would pose it to you. In terms of the casinos that have been closing and the numbers of people that hypothetically would be out of work, one of the things I learned this morning in my interview with Commissioner Wirth's Department of Labor and Workforce Development, if, say, 8,000 employees are out of work, to date, only 2,000 have applied for benefits.
Right,
so,
only 1,900.
So that tells me people are finding work, because I can't imagine if you had no prospects that you would just sit back and not try to go get benefits that you're entitled to.
Harry, I shared the same comments with the commissioner a week ago when we thought there'd be 5,000 or 6,000 people the very first day, and there were only
I'm really surprised,
and
Mayor.
the fact that now we have less than 2,000. So I don't know if they've already moved out of the area, if more people have retired, if they actually have returned to work, or they're in some type of shock. But it's very foolish because they need to register in order to start collecting unemployment benefits.
Which means either they're waiting, or maybe, for example, some of the casinos that are closing some of their properties have hired people at other properties that they have,
Right, and we know that Caesars had reported that just under 500 of the Showboat employees were hired at other Caesars properties. But again, really not sure how we could only have 2,000 people coming out.
I was shocked. Let's go back to your call, 609-47-1450 for Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian. Kyle, it's your turn to ask the mayor. You're on the air. Go right ahead.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Good. Hi. Listen, I was wondering of rumors that are spreading of a county police force, and I wanted to get your take on it, what you think that'd be a possibility if that's on the table.
We did talk about that early in the program, which means I know you didn't hear it because you wouldn't be rude and just be redundant. So we'll address it again for you and anybody else that's just joining the program. But we did cover this in great detail more than 30 minutes ago. Mayor, same question.
So Kyle, I have to tell you, because of the severe cuts that we have to make in Atlantic City, everything is on the table. I've never talked about a county police force, and I'm only now investigating how Camden works and what that county police force is. But my point was that the police chief and the president of the PBA have been very, very willing to make major changes, deployment, officers, technology here in Atlantic City. So I think we have to look at what Camden has, what that cost of law enforcement is in Camden, and how it compares to Atlantic City. And I think we've got to give our police chief and the president of the PBA the opportunity to see how we can reduce cost here without talking about county.
Kyle, how's that?
That's good. I just wanted to address one more thing. What do you think about cuts with the police department? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we're down about 30 police officers now through retirement. I think it's premature for me to tell you what I think is the number that we need, because I promised the chief that we would be bringing in the technology and allowing him to change the deployment so that there are more police officers out, and that we would be moving some of the police officers that have inside jobs back out on the street and replacing them with civilians. So give me the next 2 months to put this all together, and then I'll have a comprehensive plan of how we're going to be reducing costs at the police department, but in every other department as well.
Kyle, thanks for your call. We're going to take a brief time out. More Ask the Mayor with Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian on Town Square Media, Atlantic City's WPG Talk Radio 1450. I'm Harry Hurley. We'll be back in just 2 minutes. Stay with us.
Keeping you and your business safe and sound is the job of Abedas Security. Try your luck in Atlantic City, but never gamble on your safety. The company that keeps Atlantic City safe, Abedas Security, is a full-service security firm offering highly professional uniformed security officers, concierge, valet, event staff, and executive protection. Local business owners can rest assured that Abedas will customize a security plan based on the individual needs of your business, recognizing that each client and each property is unique. Abedas will come to your business and provide recommendations to maximize the return on your security investment. And its corporate headquarters are right in Atlantic City. Abedas Security uses all the advanced technology available today, and they're recognized as a leader in the field of security. Abedas Security is currently accepting applications for all positions. Go to abedasecurity.com to apply. Try your luck in Atlantic City, but never gamble on your safety. Abedas Security, 520 Pacific Avenue in the Bella Building, Atlantic City. Online at abedasecurity.com.
The Ask the Mayor program on WPG is proudly brought to you by the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority, continuing improvement of the region through initiatives to bolster Atlantic City's revenue and job growth. The CRDA is investing hundreds of millions of dollars throughout the community on projects that will bring new businesses, housing, meetings, and conventions, visitors, and revenue to Atlantic City, such as Bass Pro Shops, Harris Conference Center, Tropicana's property upgrades and renovations, expansion of ACCC's Atlantic City campus, the Lighthouse District Park Greenway, facade improvements along Atlantic Avenue, nearly 400 new housing units, and infrastructure improvements such as the paving of Pacific Avenue. As the summer winds down, free entertainment such as outdoor concerts and movies are still available every night throughout the city. And coming in September, the Miss America pageant and Show Us Your Shoes parade, Pro Beach Volleyball Tournament, Boardwalk Art Show, AC International Triathlon, and the Seafood Festival. Let's do AC.
WPG Talk Radio 1450 presents Ask the Mayor. Presented by the New Jersey Casino Reinvestment Development Authority and Albedas Security. To talk to Mayor Guardian, call 407-1450. Now, with Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian, here's Harry Hurley.
And Ask the Mayor, brought to us by Albedas Security and by the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority. Reinvesting in Atlantic City's future, the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority is proud to present and support today's Ask the Mayor program with Mayor Don Guardian right here on your station for local talk, WPG Talk Radio 1450. Phone lines are open for the first time since Mayor Guardian signed on 43 minutes ago. Phone lines are actually open at 609-407-1450. I hope you'll jump in. Let me go to some of your tweets and some of your emails in sort of a lightning round with Mayor Guardian. This is Gail, writing in from the South Inlet section of Atlantic City, Mr. Mayor, asking you, how are you going to find 8,000 or 9,000 jobs for the newly unemployed casino workers?
So we're not going to find 8,000 or 9,000 jobs. It's certainly not short term. We're going to find the 1,500 jobs today at the job fair. There's about 1,100 jobs that are opening up in Atlantic City with some of the businesses that we talked about opening up. So between the new projects that Tropicana is doing, Bass Pro, the new conference center at Harris, and the indoor market, that's the 1,100 that we're talking about there. Certainly with Revel coming back, that's 3,000 or 4,000 jobs in that one location alone. And I think it's premature to say that the Taj Mahal is closing or closing permanently, because even if they're closing, it might be to refurbish and reinvent themselves, rebrand themselves, then open up again. So we certainly have to sell the properties that have closed on the boardwalk. That's how we're going to bring some of those jobs back. And yes, we should be bringing these jobs back. It's just time that we don't have. And so this is going to be a tough fall and winter and spring for a lot of people.
And Mayor, these job fairs today, and the commissioner has promised another one.
Right.
These are producing real jobs.
Yeah, they're real jobs. You're coming there. If you're not being interviewed, you're setting up schedules. I talked to 50 or 60 people that were in line, and most of them had told me that they had gotten 3 or 4 interviews while they were there.
There also is a website that the state has really done a good job, the Department of Labor and Workforce Development, that they put together. It's jobs4jersey.com. This will allow you to build your own resume. This will actually let you upload and send your resume to different employers, and by you putting in your information, it actually will create hits where you have skill sets that will be interesting to an employer that's looking for someone that has your experience. And this is a really nice program that's helping people, Mayor.
Yeah, Harry, I think it's very important to see that everyone is coming together to try to help. The situation is certainly serious, but shows all the efforts to help people find jobs.
Quick programming note, and right back to your phone calls at 609-407-1450 for Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian. We're at 46 minutes past the hour. We'll be with you here on Town Square Media, Atlantic City's WPG Talk Radio 1450. We're streaming live on our YouTube page. All of our sister stations are in Town Square Media, Atlantic City, are also streaming the program as well. So if you're a fan of the other genres that we have, ESPN, Cat Country, Light Rock, Sojo, all of our stations, we're a team here at Town Square Media, Atlantic City, so you can enjoy this on all of our platforms. Kyle McCann doing an absolutely fabulous job as our digital editor. The programming note I want to mention is this Saturday, right before we bring you live coverage of the Miss America Show Us Your Shoes Parade. That will be with Executive Program Director Chris Coleman, Program Director Heather DeLuca of Sojo 104.9, and myself. Right before we come your way live at 5 o'clock from the Boardwalk in Atlantic City, the Ed Hurst Steel Pier Radio Show with Ed Hurst and Don Hurley is going to be spectacular. They landed an incredible interview with Nina DeValori, Miss America. They landed an amazing interview with Miss America 1955, Lee Merriweather. They have other components. They have a Barbara Streisand exclusive. It's all happening in the 4 o'clock hour right before we go live at 5. So a very nice package of Miss America coverage right here on your station for live and local talk, WPG Talk Radio 1450. We have Tom in the inlet. Tom, your question for Mayor Don Guardian. Go right ahead.
Yes. Mayor Tom Wilson from the inlet.
Hi, Tom.
I think you're doing a great job under not real good circumstances. My question to you, Mayor, is what is your administration's projections for code enforcement in the city?
Oh, sure. So Dale Fitch is our new license and inspection director. One of the key issues with code enforcement, mercantile, and our construction office is that we had no software, no computers to put the programs together. So we looked at most of the other major towns and cities in New Jersey, and we purchased that software just a few months ago. That software is in and hooked up, and we actually started on Monday with a training program. So for the first time, mercantile, code enforcement, construction is all going to have information at their fingertips about the property they're visiting, and when they do, they'll know whether taxes were paid, who owns the property, if there's been a mercantile license out, if there's code enforcement. So we know there's a lot of work to do with code enforcement beyond just what casinos have, and we're very concerned about homes that may have been abandoned or still on fixed up after the Sandy disaster.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
I want to give everybody a second source of a story that's developing literally during Mayor Guardian's Ask the Mayor program, and that is Atlantic City's Revel Casino has reached a $90 million sale deal with a Florida developer, Glenn Straub, and so this is both CNBC and now Reuters also confirming within just the last few minutes that this sale, in fact, is going to happen. I understand through some well-placed sources that while this is still open, there are others, I guess, that could actually improve the deal, but the way it's being reported, it's almost as though Glenn Straub has gotten Revel. We'll see.
Well, there's an auction.
Yeah, and it's not over yet.
It's not over yet. It ends the 23rd.
But this is encouraging that there's
very,
a buyer.
Very positive, and this means that unless there's a better offer on the table, and of course, some of the offers, Harry, came with a lot of baggage, so it was unacceptable to the people at Revel. So obviously, this one is acceptable, and it is very good news.
As always, we prioritize your phone calls on Ask the Mayor with Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian. You're listening to WPG Talk Radio 1450, part of Town Square Media, Atlantic City, at 50 minutes past the hour. Joe, Ask the Mayor. You're on the air.
Mayor, thanks for doing this show.
Hey, Joe.
My question was going to be about the Revel store you keep talking about. Do we know what their plans are for the property?
Yeah, no, we really don't. Well, I was aware of two companies that have been looking seriously and had the financial whereabouts to make an offer that was going to be acceptable to Revel. Obviously, this one came through. There's no really additional information of anything more than an offer coming through and.
But
and
one
being
thing
accepted.
I'm willing to say, Mayor, is that there's no deed restriction associated with this particular sale. So whoever buys it, if it's Glenn Straub, and I kind of think it may be, if it's him or if it's somebody else, Revel is going to open as a casino.
Right, and we both know this, Harry, this is a very big property. This isn't for someone, and this isn't 30 years ago we just opened up a property and hope that if you have slot machines, the concept works. This is a sophisticated property that you need an experienced gaming operator to come in. So I'm sure before Glenn made an offer for this property, he has had some arrangements with what I believe are only 3, maybe 4 big companies that are capable of running a gaming
And
hall.
I know you're being very measured with what you're going to say here tonight
Thank you.
because it's obviously all breaking live. I do want to thank a very, very good friend of mine and a very good source who, while we're doing the program live, has been really working very hard to provide me in real time all of these developments that have been happening. Hey, Joe, anything else for the mayor?
No, thank you, Harry.
Good to be with you, Joe. Thank you. Thank you for your interest, and thank you for listening to WPG Talk Radio 1450's Ask the Mayor. We're joined now by Frank. Frank, good evening. It is your turn to ask the mayor.
Oh, good evening, gentlemen. And I didn't call about Revel, but that's wonderful news, and I'll say a prayer at Mass this weekend that they hire MGM to run it because we'd love to see MGM operate property.
And Frank, were you listening? Did you hear me confirm that MGM is now licensed again? They're back,
and they're able to do business in Atlantic City, which is a very good thing at this time.
Oh my goodness, I wanted them here from the beginning.
So there you go.
They're here. My question is, I'm a little disappointed. On Sunday, they'll be taking sports betting bets on football at Monmouth Racetrack, and unfortunately, none of the Atlantic City casinos, and I guess because of the federal law, have taken the bait. Do you think that possibly Senator Lesniak pushed that, knowing that they weren't going to do that down here, just to get sports betting for the Monmouth Racetrack? Because I don't believe it's going to help us attract people here if there's only sports betting in Monmouth Racetrack.
And there will not be sports betting at Atlantic City Racetrack. That is already confirmed. And I did project yesterday on Hurley in the Morning, before it was even announced, that Monmouth would be first. There is a big difference, though, to be fair, Frank, between a casino that would be actually violating federal law to just go into this thing. I think it's a different scenario. But, Mayor, ultimately, this is great news. It's a great executive order. It starts the court process. The Third Court of Appeals already gave us a little wiggle room to be able to remedy this at our level, and I think it's a positive, even though initially we're not feeling it in the very first wave in Atlantic City. To me, this is a good thing, a very good thing that Governor Christie did.
Just confirming that, absolutely, it's good. We wanted sports betting, and we were foolish not to push it as a state several years ago when we had the opportunity to join the other states where it's legal. But now this has given us a little wiggle room, and it's opened it up. And let's face it, we're still going to be a gaming town. My point is, we're going to be a diversified town, but gaming is going to be part of it, and sports betting should be there too.
If we don't get knocked out, Frank, we're going to be in the game. The only one, and it's really not fair, and hopefully something will be done for them, the only one that gets it in the neck is the Atlantic City Racecourse, because they will not be able to have the sports book to compete against Atlantic City casinos, which, that the other racetracks can have that. That's quite an amenity, a competitive disadvantage for them. But as long as this thing settles in a way, I mean, this is not like the marijuana issue where the federal government has said, go ahead, we will not prosecute you for money laundering or any other federal crimes. They're turning the other cheek on that. Some people believe at the casino level that the federal government might drop the hammer very, very hard on these companies, so you cannot blame them for proceeding with caution.
I understand it.
Yeah.
My only hope is that it won't be just another handicap for us trying to attract people here on Sundays, where we'll be competing with, we won't have sports betting and they'll be going to Monmouth to place the football bets. I'm all for attracting people to Atlantic City.
Yeah.
I just don't want us to lose customers on Sundays to Monmouth because we don't have sports betting. I don't want it to turn out to be a negative.
I agree with you.
Thanks,
and that would be a sneaky way to bring gambling in other parts of the state. I'm with you on that. I agree with you on that. But I believe that although casinos didn't dive into the pool first to swim, we will benefit from it if this continues. I really believe that. 609-407-1450, an open phone line for Ask the Mayor. Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian at 56 minutes past the hour. Shirley, you're on the air with Mayor Don Guardian. Go right ahead.
Hello, Mayor. My name is Shirley Coursey, and I got a chance to speak with your chief of staff when you were at Second Baptist Church. You know, they had the summit there.
Yes, yesterday morning.
Yes, and was happy to see how much you care about the community, and you came out and got a chance to speak to the people that attended that People's Summit. I also got a chance to let your chief of staff know that I'm interested, in addition to the good news that we're hearing about the job fairs, we also need to keep in mind, like you've said all this past hour, there are a lot of people who are not applying for new jobs. There may be people who want to take this opportunity to learn a new skill. And I'm proposing that along with the job fairs, that the Department of Labor Workforce Development has an opportunity to focus on a lot of the approved training facilities that could train a lot of people. A lot of people have transferable skills, and I'm one of the approved training providers with the Department of Labor Workforce Development. And I just feel like with the next job fair, do you know if there'll be opportunities to actually let people know there are training grants available through the Department of Labor Workforce Development, and there are many training vendors like myself. My school is Healthcare Information Technology School of New Jersey. And so do you know if there are any opportunities with the next job fair to also let people know about these state-approved training opportunities?
Thank you very much, Shirley.
Thanks,
Go ahead,
Shirley. Yeah, I think it's a great point. I will talk to the commissioner tomorrow, and I will ask him to make sure that we include training grants availability at the next job fair. And if you do me a favor, give my office a call again. You can talk to Chris Filicello, my chief of staff, for myself. We'll make sure that you're invited to the next job fair as well.
Thank you, Shirley. Good question. Good stuff. Listeners have been phoning your questions into the mayor on his program, Ask the Mayor, and we'll come back your way during the month of October on Wednesday, October 15th, in the 6 o'clock until 7:05 hour with our next program. But you can also tweet your questions. You can email your questions on our WPG1450.com website. And, for example, Heather has written into the program, hashtag WPG Ask the Mayor, tweeted her question in. And I'll tell you what, I agree with her on this. I think there is something to this. I think it is copycat stuff. People have seen the success of the walk, the outlets, and new retail outlets broke ground just off of exit 41, off of the Atlantic City Expressway. Do you think this is going to hurt Atlantic City?
No, I don't. I think it's going to hurt Malton. I think it's going to hurt Cherry Hill. That's the crowd that they're going to be going after. I think that extra 41 miles is going to be helpful to us in terms of there's a lot of shopping centers between us and them. I think that the walk does a great job for about a 30-mile radius around Atlantic City with local people, but it definitely makes its money with all the conventions, conferences, and people that are coming down to game and things. And so, you know, if you come here on a Sunday and there's a basketball program, high school basketball at the hall, or there's cheerleading competition, you can't walk literally at the properties and things. So no, I don't think it's going to be a direct hit for us.
Mayor, I broke a story yesterday. It was well sourced. It was accurate. Turned out to be very, very accurate once additional details were released. I was absolutely convinced upon learning the details of the shooting yesterday in Atlantic City that the very skillful, very highly trained police experts that were involved with this were justified in their use of necessary lethal force. I know it's a little tricky when something is a pending investigation and all of these things, but it is a big deal, and you know, it wound up with a lethal kill, I believe justifiably so. Your thoughts to the extent you can comment.
Sure. So Harry, you know, my heart goes out to the family of the 20-year-old that was killed. It's a shame that anyone has to die. But it was a very serious situation, and it may have caused other people to die. And it was another example of 3 experienced police officers that approached the scene, saw the danger that was prevalent, and took action to protect Atlantic City residents. It's very sad that this boy had to die. It's sad when anyone has to die like this. But I don't want to say anything that would interfere with the investigation. But I am glad that the 3 officers were able to take action, and that there was no one else that was injured or hurt.
Question asked because I thought it should be. Fair answer based on the fact that it is so fresh and pending investigation. Laura in Mays Landing, an email question through WPG1450.com, and a reminder to our viewers on our YouTube channel and also at WPG1450.com, where you can view this in beautiful streaming, high quality, with great effort by Kyle McCann, our digital editor here at Town Square Media Atlantic City. So you can listen to the program, you can take it with you on a smartphone, your iPad, your laptop, or you can view it right on your YouTube channel. And certainly appreciate all the different platforms that we're able to bring your way with this very relevant
important program with Mayor Don Guardian that we do once a month. Laura in Mays Landing, it's a good question, because a lot of people feel this way. I feel this way. You can't make someone do what you want with property they own, but there were many people that wanted to buy the Showboat. They wanted to keep it open. They wanted to keep it open as a hotel casino, and that's not the way that it turned out. Laura is writing, do you think that the Phoenix can rise from the ashes here? She didn't say it that way, but I'm paraphrasing. Could that still come back, or has that horse left the barn?
I don't think so, Harry. I think the Showboat's great property. I love the concept of two developers that had great ideas for it. One was based upon Asian and Chinese water themed features for the entire property. The other one was going to be using the House of Blues and bringing in Latitude 360, so it was the bowling alleys, the dining movie theaters, the arcades, the sports bar. I think that Showboat is well positioned between the Taj Resorts and Revel to provide those type of venues and activities that the casinos don't. And I think they'll play off of each other. It's a great location. It's on the boardwalk. It's on the beach. Lots of property for expansion. If they wanted to do that, their parking lots alone could be a water park.
It's going to be very, very quick. But, Natalie, we're going to get you on with the mayor. You can ask the mayor real quick. We're almost out of time.
Hello?
Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Natalie.
Hi. I'm from Cape May County, and the casino jobs that are going out, I was just wondering if you knew the percentage of how many people the casino licenses were from Cape May County.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Well, thank you so much.
Natalie,
thank you,
thanks for checking in.
I want to thank you, Harry, every month for
fast,
allowing me to talk to South Jersey, to Atlantic City. Thank Town Square Media, Atlantic City as well. WPG Talk Radio 1450. This is Don Guardian with the Mayor in the Morning, Harry Hurley.
And we have quite a morning for you tomorrow. We have Congressman Frank Lobiondo. We have all kinds of elements. We're covering all of these issues that have been coming up today and this week from every angle. A big Thursday morning here with you on Hurley in the Morning. We thank you very much for listening on behalf of our entire Town Square Media Atlantic City team, our general manager, Mike Rubel, our executive program director, Chris Coleman, our digital extraordinary director, Kyle McCann, who not only does all the digital here, but actually executive produces this program in the high quality that you have the opportunity to both see and hear it. On behalf of our entire team, have a great rest of your evening. We return to normal programming, and a reminder, next month, Ask the Mayor, October 15th at 6 p.m. Have a great night. Wake up early in the morning.
Michael Savage and the Savage Nation, weeknights at 9 on WPGG Atlantic City and WPG1450.com.